This video is going to be the 20 lessons that I've taken from this experience of burning my old life, starting my new one, and lessons that I carry with me through my life. If you're in the place where something died, a sport, a business, a version of you, and you're trying to figure out what comes next, maybe these lessons can help you out as well. Giving a little bit of background, I used to swim. I used to train at a pretty competitive level. I left South Africa at 15 years old to go to Rome and go and pursue my dream as a swimmer. I was so happy. I had found a team that I really loved, a coach that I really loved. I was really improving day by day, focusing very, very hard on that one goal. Then unfortunately, COVID hit. I had to go back to South Africa, and since then there was no more training, no more swimming. Basically me being alone at home without that one thing that took up most of my life and most of my mind. Imagine going from every day thinking about swimming, living swimming, everything was about swimming. The way I ate, the way I spoke, the way I moved, the way I thought. Then that thing was just taken away from me. And that's when I started focusing on something else. Now, the lessons that I took from that, quitting something that I was doing since I was 2 years old, I learned that identity is a tool, not a prison. My identity as a swimmer was a tool that helped me with being disciplined, that helped me with having a goal in life, focusing on one thing that I wanted to really pursue and achieve. However, it isn't a prison. If one part of you dies, or one life, one goal, one ambition, one idea, that doesn't mean that your whole life is wasted. I mean, hell, I was 18 when I quit swimming. I had such a long life ahead of me and have such a long life ahead of me that was not the end of me. But when you're in it and you're so focused on one thing and that thing gets taken away from you, it does feel like it's the end of the world. It's the end of that version of yourself that you love, that you've built up. What I realized is that it's not a prison, it's a tool. Another thing that I realized is that, and one thing that I've repeated in my videos, is that failure only becomes permanent when you stop moving. Yes, in swimming, I see it as a failure. I didn't achieve the goals that I had set out for myself to go and achieve. However, that doesn't mean that my whole life was a failure. I didn't stop moving and stop being this ambitious person that I am. I just shifted my focus onto something else to try and become successful in a different aspect of my life, in a different way. Therefore, failure is not permanent. Setbacks are not permanent. They are just part of the road. The thing that my swimming coach used to always tell us back when I came to South Africa, he would always say, fail forward. And that's the way I would see it, is every failure was a step forward towards achieving a goal. The lessons I learned from swimming are going to stay with me forever. Discipline to get in the pool at 5 in the morning is not fun. No one really likes or enjoys that. And swimming is not a very fun sport. I was having that conversation with my friend the other day. It's not like a rugby or football where you're in a team and you're doing something together. It's really you're staring at that black line for 4 hours a day. So it's not a fun sport. So it taught me a lot of discipline. It taught me how to do shit that was not fun for very long without a reward, for literally shaving off, milliseconds to, if you had a very amazing race, seconds, right? That's the same lessons that I take on in entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is doing a bunch of boring reps and a bunch of boring shit over and over and over and over for a very, very long time without any reward, and then hopefully one day to get some sort of reward. A quote from Alex Hormozy, which I really, really like, is success is nothing for a long time and everything all at once. Another lesson that I took from that, and another thing that I think about, is that your first dream is able to be small. Yes, I had a goal to go to the Olympics and become successful as an athlete. However, when I look back at my life and the decision of doing that, one, swimming is not a very high paying sport, right? So you really got to do it with passion, and when you are the top in the world, that's when you can make money from it. Brutally honest, I was not top in the world, and I don't even know if I could ever actually reach that level, right, of being the number one in the world. Not saying that money is the reason that swimming's dream and goal was too small, because your life shouldn't revolve around making money. You should find something that you are working towards and why you are doing everything that you are doing. Why I meant it was too small is that if I kept working at that until I was 28 and I reached my goals, some 19-year-old was going to come in and move a lot quicker than me, a lot faster, after all those years of sacrifice, 20 years of sacrifice. And then after 30, what do you do then with your life, right? You are going to miss something so deep, that you're so used to doing that thing for so long. What is next? And I feel like with entrepreneurship, it's something that I can carry with me for the rest of my life, helping people build their own businesses and helping people just in general, right, through philanthropy. And it's a goal that for me, I think is a lot bigger. It's got a bigger vision in mind. It's got a lot more people involved. And that's why I think that the goal of becoming a successful athlete, at least in swimming for me, was a pretty small goal in terms of my life and the way I want to live my life. On to the next chapter of my life, when I really started having a breakthrough with entrepreneurship, started making a bit of money, having businesses that were going well, making some good money on crypto, and then watching everything burn in basically 1 month. So December 2024 was pretty much hell month. Like, everything got fucked on our drop shipping. We went from making over $50,000 a month and growing, so like 5K days and more every day, to having to refund over 90,000 euros in jackets, right? Watching all of that leave your pocket. Same with crypto. I had taken very risky positions in my personal portfolio and got burnt in one candle on Ethereum. I woke up in a cold sweat, hearing all my TradingView alarms go off, and that was just me getting liquidated. Now, the lessons I took from all of this is that greed is just impatience with better branding. I didn't lose all that money and that business because the market was evil or because my suppliers were shitheads or any of that. I lost it because I wanted what patience would have given me, but a lot faster. I wasn't patient enough to make sure that my backend was all right in the dropshipping, making sure that my suppliers were good, making sure that the quality of what I was sending out was good. I got focused on the numbers and I started being greedy, scaling every day, which is doubling the ad budget, doubling the ad budget, doubling the ad budget, and that worked against me. If I was patient and I looked at my operation and I made sure that I had something solid, I would definitely be still scaling that dropshipping store till today. But that was a lesson that served, that greed is just impatience. It's all it is. It's just impatience. And patience is a virtue that I'm personally still struggling with and trying to work on. But it is one of these things that I learned from those experiences in both crypto and the dropshipping. Another huge thing is that big numbers mean absolutely fuck all if your backend is trash. And that's a huge one that I cannot stress enough, is that if your backend is not solid, then big numbers mean nothing. Right now with Kairos AI, we took all those lessons from our previous failures and implemented them in this business, making sure that we are back-end conscious, that before we scale and take on more clients, we make sure the team is able to handle it. We hire more developers. We make sure that we have bandwidth to handle a lot more clients than we have currently, always, right? And that's just because of the fact that we know we're busy scaling, we know we're busy growing, and it can happen all at once. And you need to make sure that your back-end is an absolute fortress. That is a huge thing that I've learned from my previous experiences. Another one that I really think is important is respect the downside more than you worship the upside. You have to respect the times when all your life is just grunt work, dog graft for zero money coming in. When you're broke and you've got shit all in your bank account and you're busy doing odd jobs to make up money to invest, to use in your businesses, you got to respect those periods, because if you respect those periods and you have a deep respect for those periods, that is when you learn patience to make sure that when you are scaling and when you are growing, you do not do anything rash to jeopardize where you are right now to go back to where you were before that period. And I cannot stress that enough, really. I cannot stress that enough, is you have to respect the graft that it takes to get to a point where you are scaling a business, where you are making good money, and where you are building yourself up to make generational wealth. Another one tying back to the back end is you need to be ready for scale before you pray for scale. You have to make sure that you are able to scale. Ask yourself the question, if we were to 10x our client base right now, would we be able to handle it? If I were to 10x my orders, or if I were to 10x my content, or if I were to 10x my community, would I be able to handle it right now? And if the answer is no, get fucking grafting, and do not push yourself past the point where you are scaling and your back end is nothing, because you're going to ruin your business, you're going to ruin your reputation, and you are going to ruin your self-esteem when shit gets messed up. This part of my life, at this point in my life, I'm talking at around 21, so last year and a bit before that, when we did start scaling, we didn't have to work a job anymore for long, which has been amazing. The lessons that I learned in that part. So the one thing that I think is imperative is discipline and relentless consistency. Discipline is freedom in disguise. People see discipline as a prison. Oh, you can't come out to this party, or oh, you got to go to bed early and you got to wake up early and you're going to gym. Why don't you come out and have a drink with us? This, all of that. And you're living such a strict life, and people see that as a prison, right? But discipline is what is going to allow you to live a life of freedom. Because while you are in the dungeon, sacrificing all this time, all this fun and parties and all of this shit, that is when you are building a life that will allow you to never have to actually sell your time to someone else that's growing their business. That's the way I see my life, at least. And a huge thing for me is that discipline is the reason that I'm going to be free one day. And discipline is something that you really need to internalize and understand, because motivation fades. Motivation will always fade, but discipline is that constant that keeps you going back to the pool, that keeps you going back to the basketball court, that keeps you going, opening up that laptop when you've got $100 in your wallet and you just came back from a fucking long shift, scrubbing toilets. Like, that is discipline, and that is what is going to allow you to become successful. Another thing I learned was about the partners and the people that you surround yourself with. What I realized a lot is that most people aren't bad, they are just too slow to go where you are going and to move at the pace that you want to be moving. And that's what I realized with Drake and the team that we have around us right now. We are surrounded by more than 18 players. If there was a tier above 18 players, that's what the team is right now. Because weekends don't exist, holidays don't exist, Christmas doesn't fucking exist. Christmas morning, we were sending out proposals. Like, all of these things don't exist until you haven't made it yet. And I'm surrounded with a team that are 18 players that move at the pace that I want to move, right? And before, I had business partners that we worked with that they are not moving at the pace that you are moving. And if they're not moving at the pace that you are moving, then drop them, because they're just going to be holding you back. Another big one that I learned from my previous experiences was that trauma is a permanent behavior change. So use it to your advantage. The trauma that I felt from losing so much money, 40K in fucking one Ethereum candle on my personal portfolio, that shit made me clock, okay, I gotta de-risk, I gotta be smarter, I gotta be more patient. All of these things that I experienced and these pains that I experienced, like losing all that business in the dropshipping and the crypto and failing in swimming, all of that trauma I took with me into this life to push me to be a better version of myself, because now there is just absolutely not a fuck that I'm gonna fail at what I'm doing right now. And that's the way I live my life, from the trauma of having failed swimming. There is not a fuck that I would ever accept more clients and scale my business before I know my backend can handle it. That's my trauma from the dropshipping. There is not a fuck that in such a volatile market like crypto, I'm gonna open the risky trades that I opened on my personal portfolio because I wanted more. That is trauma from crypto that I'm using. Use trauma to your advantage. Use the trauma that you've experienced in business to your advantage. Another thing that I realized is so important, and more important, I would say, than anything else, back-end business partners, ideas, thoughts, anything else, is your mental toughness. You need to be so mentally strong in this game and in general in life, and you need to be completely stoic when things happen, because if you are not mentally strong, this business will crush you. Aiming for a goal is going to crush you. There are people that hate on you. There are people that don't believe you. There are things that are going to go wrong. Excuse me if I'm quoting that wrong, but there's a bar from Dave in one of his songs that he says, ambidex, problems coming at me from the right and left. And that's exactly how this shit is that you gotta be so ambidextrous. You gotta be fucking like an owl, head on a 360 swivel thing, because you need to make sure that everything is covered. Like a general in war, you need to make sure that you are covered, because shit is gonna fly at you from the right and left. So mental toughness in this game is the most important thing. Making sure that whatever happens, you are constant. It's something that Drake and I consistently work on, that it is one of the hardest things to achieve, and it is something that we work on actively every day, to be mentally tough, to be the leaders of this business and really push it forward. Because when people rely on you to be their rock, you cannot have cracks in anything. And now a little bit more of an abstract lessons and thoughts and ways that I look at life, and this comes more from philosophy, this comes more from how I look at my life and destiny, and this is a very Machiavellian kind of thought, is that the way I see life is that 50% of your life is destiny, is written in the stars, and 50% of your life is what you do with that destiny. Unfortunately, I would be lying to you if I sat here and said that luck played zero part in your life. I was lucky to meet the business partners that I met. I was lucky to be privileged enough to be born in a family that allowed me to have opportunities that were not available to other people. I can make a list that will carry on forever, right? I was lucky in certain aspects of my life, but how many people do you know that have this luck, that have this privilege, and just squander away their life, just literally piss away all their opportunities, all their good wit, all their good looks, all their whatever it is, for whatever reason? How many people do you know that actually do that? So 50% of your life is destiny and 50% of it is what you do with it. Because I could also just turn around and be a complete fuck around, right? Just go to parties, get a 9 to 5 and live a comfortable little life. But that's not what I'm trying to do for my life. That's not what I'm trying to achieve. Therefore, you write your own destiny. How many people do you know that are in a worse position than you and were in worse positions than you and made it out and are multi-millionaires and hyper successful in sport or whatever it is? The other thing that I realized having a conversation with my friend the other day is that he asked me, you're sacrificing so much, you're working so hard. Are you not afraid that you are not going to be happy at the end of all of this, or you are not going to achieve your goals? And I told him the thing that I am most afraid of and the thing that drives me every day, the real fear that I have is the alternative of being 80 and not having done what I'm doing right now, is the alternative of not being successful, the alternative of selling my time for a salary. These are things that make me a lot more scared than if I don't make it. And this ties back to a philosophical quote from Marco Aurelio, which must be one of my favorite quotes, is, what are you so afraid of when nothing on this earth belongs to you? Why are you afraid to achieve something? Why are you afraid to piss people off and to chase a goal? Because someone on LinkedIn told you to fuck off because you reached out? Because your friends and family don't believe in what you're doing? Because people think you're weird for sacrificing all this fun in your 20s to work hard on a goal that you have? What does all of this matter when at the end of the day, we all go back to ash, right? It's going to be someone else's turn. You put your chips in the middle of the table and someone else is going to grab them, right? So what are you afraid of when there is nothing to lose, right? And so this was the conversation I was having with him. And another thing that came out in that conversation was a lot of people want freedom. A lot of people chase freedom, right? And that's the idea of like, this is what I want in my life. I want to be happy and free. But not a lot of people have a strong disdain, hate, dissent for the alternative, which is working a 9 to 5, which is not being able to wake up and do what you want, which is having to live a life that is so linear. And that's what I told him is the difference between me and the people that want freedom, and everyone is happy and wants freedom and thinks that that's what they want. But it's the fact that myself, the team that I'm surrounded with, we hate the alternative. We hate the alternative a lot more. And that's not to say that that's wrong, and if that's your life, happy for you, right? But for me, I hate the alternative. I would be so unhappy if the alternative was my life. Another huge topic that I've learned, which is a bit more abstract, but is comfort is the most socially acceptable form of self-sabotage. Nothing happens inside your comfort zone. Not a single good thing has happened inside anyone's comfort zone ever. It is when you are uncomfortable, when you are scared, shitless, when you are risking everything, that good things come to you. And if you dare to dream big and you dare to take risks, that is where good shit happens. No one has ever become rich because of being afraid of taking risks. You need to forget about being risk averse, right? You need to completely forget about that if entrepreneurship is the goal for you, and being an athlete or whatever your goal is and your ambition, you need to take risks, right? You have to take risks. Comfort is just socially acceptable. Everyone lives in this little comfortable little bubble and participation medal, and good for you, but fuck that. Another huge thing that I live by is stoicism. You have to be able to feel everything but choose what you react to, and that's the way I kind of look at stoicism, is the fact that it doesn't mean that you're just emotionless. It means that there is going to be shit flying at you from all angles. It's what you choose to react to and how you choose to react to those things that determines the type of man that you're going to be, the type of person that you are going to be, and the type of success that you are going to have. If you're going to be emotional about everything and act rash, and I used to be very emotional, very hot-headed, very immature, and these were the steps that I took to get out of that, because I realized that when I acted with emotion is 100% of the time I made mistakes. I was a bad person, I was a bad friend, I was a bad boyfriend. It was all because of the way I was acting out of emotion. And the Stoic philosophy kind of helped me understand that everyone is entitled to feel certain things. It's just about the way that you react to them and let them affect you at the end of the day. These are the core principles, including freedom, that I keep with me and that push me to become a better version of myself. Another thing that I really think about that I keep with me is I want to do what my 80-year-old self will actually respect. One day when I'm 80 and I'm looking back on my life, I want to be able to look back and say that I did everything to 100%, right? I want to be able to look back and be satisfied with the life that I've lived and the person that I've been. And for instance, with posting content, that shit seems very weird when you're starting, you know, it's like, oof, that's kind of fucking cringe, bro. Like that's a bit weird. But then I think to myself, again, back to the Marco Aurelio thing, what are you afraid of? Like, what the fuck is actually going to change? What in my life is going to change if someone thinks, oh, your content is cringe, or you making videos is weird, or you trying to be a businessman is whatever. And then when you make it so small that you realize that if that is the only thing that is stopping you, how can you actually ever respect yourself if these small things are the reason you aren't pursuing your goal? The ideas and the thoughts of someone else and the judgment of other people is stopping you from pursuing your goal. At the end of the day, you've won. If someone is sitting watching your videos, if someone is sitting commenting, if someone is sitting judging you, you are taking up mental real estate in their brain, and you are living your life the way you intend it to be, the way you want it to be, the way you are happy to live your life. I really live in a way that 80-year-old me can respect myself. And another thing that I take into this that I really think is pertinent is a millionaire will never judge you for wanting to start a business. An athlete will never think you are weird or stupid for waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning and going to train. So why are you letting people that are beneath you, that are not trying to be what you are trying to be, judge you or let their opinions affect what you are going to be? And I think a lot about this with my grandfather. My grandfather was always an entrepreneur. He was a mushroom farmer. He moved from Italy to South Africa in the 70s to go and follow his business and this dream that he had to grow his business in South Africa in the complete unknown. There was no internet, there was no calling, there was no understanding where you were, and he just fucking went like a pioneer and started a business there. Didn't even speak any of the languages that are available to him in South Africa, but went. And he is the only person that when I'm with them in summer and I'm locked inside, I'm not going out, I'm not going to the beach, I'm not going out at night, and I'm getting judged by my cousins and my family around me that, oh, I should enjoy my time, I should, live my life and all of these things. He's the only person that never judges me for that, and it's because he understands the hustle, he understands the graft, he understands everything. And I asked him, if you were my age, what would you be doing? And he said, I would be sitting right there by that computer doing the same thing you're doing. He doesn't even understand what my business does. I mean, AI to him is like, and I assume to many grandparents, is such a foreign, like what, like, you know, he's got a Samsung S2, he doesn't even know how to function his phone properly. But he said he would be sitting on this computer building his business the same way I'm doing that. And that is something that really sticks with me, is that don't let people that aren't trying to do and achieve what you are trying to achieve judge you, because people that are will never judge you for what you're doing. So these are a handful of lessons that I've taken with me from my old life, my new life, what I'm living now. Every year I'm going to try and make a video like this where I can kind of rehash and go through the year and the new lessons that I have learned. If your life feels like chaos right now, it doesn't mean that you're broken. It just usually means that a version of yourself is dying and a new one is starting. So embrace that, embrace the chaos. Don't be afraid to, lose an identity and build a new one. One question that I want to leave this video off with and sign this video off with is, what would your life look like if you stopped giving a shit about what people thought about you, you stopped lying to yourself, and you stopped living in your little comfort zone and your bubble that you've created for yourself? In a year's time, what would your life look like? I hope you guys found value from this video. If you didn't, as I've been saying, I don't give a shit. Like, comment, subscribe, do your thing, and I'll see you guys in the next one.